Good morning. Oh, maybe it's not morning for you, but it is for me right now. Anyway, let's start off with, this is week number 5, and I hope everybody's staying sane-ish. And let's make that a little bit better by doing a bit of exercise. So start off with your posture check. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against that imaginary wall. Open the chest. Slide shoulder blades down your back. Tailbone pointing down, pressing tummy button to the backbone. Pulling up into the rib cage, then that pelvic floor will lift. Open up the hips, buttocks engaging, knees rolling out, and the arch of the foot lifting. Then spreading out the toes, then you've got the weight even between the little toe, the big toe and the heels. Breathing full and wide into the ribs, and you don't interfere with that. Zip up and hollow. Then from there, taking a breath in, and as you breathe out, float the arms up to shoulder height, and breathing in to push down. Lifting the arms up as you exhale, and inhale, pushing down, keeping everything else stable while you do that. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels stay up against that imaginary wall. Try not to rock side to side. Then lifting the arms up, taking the hands behind the head. Do a big squeeze up, shoulders into the ears. Push down. Now squeeze back and open the chest. And then reaching down towards the toes. So exhaling up. Inhale, hands go behind the head. Exhale, squeeze the shoulders right up into the ears, breathing in to release. Breathing out, pull those shoulder blades together. And then gently reaching all the way down, stretching down. Reaching all the way out, hands behind, squeezing up, pushing down, pulling back. And then lengthening and pop your head up like a cork out of a bottle. Reaching to the side. Behind, squeeze up, push down, squeeze back and release. So this is a really good one if you're going to be sitting at your desk for a long time, working from home, getting some flexibility into your upper back and pulling those shoulders back, stretching down, keeping the chest open. And then taking the legs out nice and wide, turn out the knees, turn out the toes. Keeping the back up nice and tall. So the knees turn right out over the toes. And think about sliding your back down that imaginary wall. Sinking down, straight back. Nice wide legs. Keeping the back up nice and tall. If you find that's not comfortable for the knees, you can always have the feet pointing forward, knees pointing forward. And just do a little narrow squat instead. But if you can, legs out nice and wide, and then reaching the arms out and squeeze the shoulder blades together. Stretching out and pulling back, warming up the hips, the knees, and of course still the shoulders, the shoulder girdle, squeezing those shoulder blades together. Then lifting the arms a little bit higher with each one. Maybe breathing in to go down, breathing out to push up. Nice deep squat. Sliding your back down that imaginary wall, keeping the chest up, reaching higher with each one, squeezing back and down. Very deep squat. And one more time, reaching up, pulling back and down. Keep those shoulder blades back and bringing the feet back into alignment. Shoulders, hips, knees and ankles aligned. And this time, that skiing movement, where you take your knees one way, the arms the other way, and then lift the arms to shoulder height. Try not to twist the knees, twisting from the hip, keeping the chest lifted. The peach underneath the chin, and the knees pretty much pointing forward, and then twisting to the side, but just from the hip rather than the knee. And coming up onto the balls of the feet. Balance. Lift up, spreading out the toes. Adding in the calf muscles into this. Thighs working. And of course the core to balance. Keep the neck in line with the spine. Maybe breathing out to push up, breathing in to go down. And one more to the other side. And then lift and hold, catch it at the top. Switching on those core muscles to balance. Feel those calf muscles work. And release down. Then taking that right foot back, press the heel down into the floor. Keeping the chest lifted, making sure the toes point forward, because if you've got them twisted off to the side, your hips are twisting and you won't get the stretch through the calf. So knees pointing forward, front knee over the ankle. Pressing that back heel down, keeping the chest up, reaching the arms forward. And then open the arms, one up, one down. Again, you're opening the chest, swapping to the other side. Squeeze the shoulders back. Then turning the head, looking up at the arm. Getting flexibility into the neck. Squeezing back. Again, working that posture muscle across the upper back. But still pressing that back heel into the floor. And then when you've had a good stretch on that right side, swap to the left. Remember, you can now always have the feet a little bit wider to help with the balance, because there is an element of balance going on here. Reaching forward. And then squeeze back. Maybe exhale to squeeze, inhale forward. Getting that flexibility into the shoulders, as well as the neck. Keep the head lamps on the hip bones pointing forward. Head lamps on the chest pointing forward. Still stretching through that rear calf. And relax, bring it back to start position. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against that imaginary wall. And bringing your right heel onto the side of your left ankle. Bring the hands into a prayer position and balance. Holding that there. If you can slide that right foot up and rest the sole of the foot against the calf. It should just sit there quite nicely while you keep your hips and your chest pointing forward. Balance. Replacing the foot, have a little go on the other side. Level 1 would be the heel against the ankle, and level 2, sliding the foot up and just resting it on the calf. Try not to move your upper body at all. Focusing the eyes forward, maybe on something that doesn't move. That usually helps. And then swapping again. Level 1, heel against the ankle. Level 2, sole of the foot against the calf. Then if you can, take hold of the ankle, so she wobbling, and then bring the foot up, rest it against the thigh, and bring the hands to prayer. If that's too much, you stay with level 1 or 2. And then trying the other side. Remember, there's always one side better than the other side. Heel against ankle, sole of the foot against the calf. Then if you can, you lift up and press the sole of the foot into the thigh. Try not to rest against the knee joint, as high up the leg as you can. Hold and balance. And release. Trying again on the other side. So heel in, sole of the foot, or you can take hold of the ankle, bring the sole of the foot in, press it in nice and hard, get your balance, bring the hands into prayer, look over the fingertips, and see if you could twist the upper body. Remember, you can have your foot on the floor if you need to. Gently bring it back and replace the foot. One more time on the other side, adding in that little extra twist. You can leave it there if you need to, or there, or you can lift up, press the foot in, oh, balancing, and this is my better side as well normally, reach, looking over the fingertips, and then twist, 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 twist. Gently bring it back, and replace the foot to the floor. And then now, standing at the back of your mat, back of the head again, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against the wall. Keep that tailbone pointing down. Relax the knees, and then do a lovely roll down towards the toes. Just drop, drop, drop. Tummy button pulled right up and in. Hold that there. Just go down as far as you can. And then bend one knee, and then the other knee. So you're bending one, straightening one. Drop the head. Let the arms dangle. Just
just as far as you can, while keeping that tummy button pulled right up and in. And then from there, just hold and come up. Keep the arms close into the legs, engaging the tummy to support the back, shoulders back and down. Then drop the chin. Again, peel yourself off the wall like a piece of wet wallpaper. Drop, drop, drop. Hold that there and then circle the arms. Keeping the knees slightly bent so they're not locking. Change direction with the circling. And keeping that head down. Slowly come up again. Link by link, arms close into the legs. And one more time. Drop the chin. Give that peach a bit of a squeeze underneath the chin, between the chin and the chest. Slowly take it down. Hold that when you've gone as far as you can, maybe just that little bit further than you went before. Nodding, nodding, nodding the head. And shake, shake, shake the head. Getting flexibility into the neck. Bend the knees, put the hands onto the floor and walk out onto the hands and knees, and then take it all the way down onto your front. So you're lying on your front. Take the forehead down onto the backs of the hands if that's comfortable. If it's not, you can always turn your head to the side and let your cheek rest. Lengthening through the legs. Slide those shoulder blades down your back. Shoulders, hips, knees and ankles aligned. Tummy button pulled up off a little flat hot stone. And resting cup of tea on the back of your pelvis. And then from there, just bending both the knees if you can. Flex the feet, keep that cup of tea still on the back of your pelvis. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, just hover the right knee off the floor and breathe in and put it down. Exhale, left knee off the floor and breathe in and put it down. Doing alternate leg lifts. It's as if you're trying to imprint the sole of the foot to the ceiling. Then you really feel that buttock engage. Try not to allow the hips to rock from side to side, fixing with the hamstring. If that's not comfortable, you can do straight legs. Lift and lower. Lengthen through the legs instead. That would make it that little bit easier. But if you can, you stay with the bent legs. Maybe you could do exhale up, inhale down, single, single, and then both together. Imprint the soles of the foot to the ceiling. Of course, if that's not doable, just do the single, single. But if you can, you add in the doubles. Straight legs, easier than bent legs. And you can, if you want to, stay with the doubles only. Repeat the doubles, adding in the lower back. Exhale up, inhale down. And do as many repetitions as you want to, straight legs or bent legs. And then relax and lengthen through the legs. Take the legs out into a wider V shape. Turn the big toes in towards one another. Let the heels flop apart. Still sliding those shoulder blades down your back. And then if you can, grasp your buttocks. Just press the palms of the hands into the buttocks. If that's not comfortable for your shoulders, you can have the arms down by your side with the palms up. Or you could leave the arms crucifix position, bend the elbows at a 90-degree angle. Whichever works for you. But if you can, you're grasping your buttocks, and then with the peach underneath the chin, keep the buttocks relaxed. Exhale and lift, and inhale to lower. Breathing out to lift, breathing in to lower. Working into the back. It's not about lifting high. If you can, you leave your forehead on the floor, and then lift and lower. Or you can turn your head to the side and then lift, look at the floor, and then turn your cheek down again. Then adding onto that if you can, lift up, squeeze those elbows together, release and down. Exhale, lift, inhale, squeeze, exhale, release, inhale, down. You can leave the arms down by your side and do lift, reach back, release, arms, chest, shoulders and forehead down. You can of course leave the arms crucifix, bend the elbows and lift and lower, but you're not going to work as much into that upper back if you do that one. Lifting up as you exhale, inhale, squeeze, exhale, release, inhale, down. Working into the back, that posture muscle again, across the upper back. Useful when you're working in front of your computer all the time. You're lengthening that upper back muscle and contracting your chest, whereas this is doing the opposite, opening up the chest. And then what about adding some legs in? Bring the legs back into alignment. You can bend the knees, flex the feet, and lift, squeeze, release, and lower. You can do straight legs, lift, squeeze, release, lower. You can do the single leg, or you could do upper body first and then the legs separately. You can decide which level you're going for. And then when you've done equal numbers on both sides, if you're doing alternate legs, or you're doing the single, single, double, make sure you complete your set. And then when you've done enough repetitions, just relax back down, maybe bring the hands underneath the forehead and let the hips rock from side to side. Just let the hips rock from side to side. Just release the back. And then coming up onto the hands and knees. Arch the back, drop the head. Pull the tummy button up and in and stretch from the back of your neck all the way down to your tail. Ears pointing down, tummy pulled up and in. Give it a good stretch. Remember, you can always sit on your bottom to do that if it's not comfortable, with the wrists or the knees. Reach over the beach ball for your toes with your legs straight in a sitting position. And then sitting right back onto the heels, let the forehead rest down. You can stretch the arms in front. You could take the arms behind. Remember, if you're not getting your head down, try not to lift the hips. Just pop hand underneath the forehead. There's still a gap, you can put the other fist underneath. Slide the shoulder blades down, you can open the knees. And remember also that can be done sitting. You can just sit and hug the knees into the chest and drop the head over the knees. And from here, when you've had a good stretch through the lower back and the buttocks, coming up into sitting and then swing the legs around. Pop the hands onto the floor. And then because you've been working those hamstrings, reaching out towards your toes. Keep the shoulders down, the peach underneath the chin, and lengthen through the legs. Try not to bend the knees. Maybe take a breath in. As you breathe out, walk the fingers a little bit further out, pressing down through the legs. So those legs stay nice and straight. Get a good stretch through the hamstring. You also get lower back and buttock stretching too. And we've had a good stretch there. Sitting up nice and tall. Make sure you've got enough mat to roll down on. Might need to slide down the mat. Reaching the arms forward, tilt the pelvis, create your C curve, and then do that slow roll back onto the mat. Remember, you can hold on behind one thigh to control the speed. You can put the hands behind you. You can even roll over onto your side and then roll over onto your back. And when you've got down there, take a moment to set that up. Bring the knees up, feet flat on the floor. Chin down over the peach. Trade marbles across the pelvis. Make sure you've got your orange between your knees and that little grape in the small of your back. Shoulders, hips, knees, ankles aligned, tummy braced. And keeping the rib cage knitted right down. Keep the gap between the rib cage and the hips exactly the same. Keeping the feet rooted into the floor to help to keep you stable. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, float the arms over the top of your head, just as far as you can without that rib cage flaring, to make it into an I shape. Then take the arms into a Y, stretching the arms out and trying to keep the backs of the hands and the forearms on the floor. Bringing the elbows down towards the waist to make a W shape. And then picking the forearms up and bringing the
palms of the hands down, making an M shape, and sliding the hands down towards the side. Reaching all the way up and over. Try not to lift that rib cage, maybe turn the thumbs down, and then taking the arms to the Y. Try and get the backs of the arms and the hands on the floor, squeezing down the elbows towards the waist, and then flipping the forearms over. Sliding the hands down by your side. So be exhaling up, maybe go that a little bit further if you can, but without the rib cage flaring. Hold to breathe in, breathing out, reach to the Y, pull down for the W, and then flip over for the M, while keeping everything else stable, then arms by your side. Reaching all the way up, make that I shape, then you take it into the Y, and then pulling down into the W, you're opening the chest, squeezing those shoulder blades together, then flipping over, and then down by your side. So again, this is another good one to do if you've been sitting at your desk. Getting flexibility to the shoulders, shoulder girdle, and opening the chest, pulling the shoulders back and down. And then over into the M, and sliding back down. Then maybe adding onto that, floating over, just as far as you can, and then taking the arms out to the Y, pull down for the W, and then flip over for the M, and then nod the head and curl up and reach forward. Looking underneath the orange between the knees, press your tummy button into your backbone, and gently roll back down, shoulder blades, shoulders and head. And again, you would do exhale up into the I, inhale, hold. Exhale into the Y, inhale, hold. Exhale into the W, inhale, hold. Exhale into the M, inhale, hold, nod the head. And breathing out, curl up and reach forward. Crush the grape, push forward, keeping the shoulders down. So with the curl up, of course, you would crush the grape. Otherwise, you keep the natural curve in your spine when you're doing the I and the Y and the W and the M. And then when you do your curl up, you press your tummy button right down into your backbone, looking forward, make sure nothing moves below the waist, and then gently, gently down. Now, if you wanted to work out a little bit harder with that, you can take a breath in, and as you breathe out, lift one knee up into tabletop, press the back into the mat, crush the grape, lift the other leg up into tabletop, so you've got a 90-degree angle at the hip and the knee. And then starting off exactly the same, but you've really got to switch on those tummy muscles to keep you stable. And then again, floating the arms up, keeping that rib cage right down. And then out into the Y. Pull down for the W. Flip for the M. And then slowly do the curl up. Crush the grape, look underneath the orange, keep the shoulders down, reaching forward. Then gently arms, shoulder blades, shoulders and head go down. Reaching up and over. And into the Y. Squeezing those shoulder blades down, opening the chest, and flip. And then nod the head and curl up. Remember, you can support the head with one hand or both hands if you need to, but make sure you don't pull on the head. And then gently, gently take it back down, nice and smooth. So it's just a reach over, the Y shape, the W, the M, and then nodding the head, curl forward, always holding onto that peach. So when you're rolling back down, you keep hold on the peach. And if you want to, there is one more add-on. Floating the arms up, keeping that grape in place, and then out into your Y, pull down for the W, flip for the M and nod the head, and then curl forward, crush the grape now, and extend the legs, looking over the toes, and then gently bring it back down again. Remember, the lower you take the legs, the harder that will be. So higher up legs, easier. And again, taking the arms all the way up and over, and into Y, into W, and the M. Curl up, higher legs, easier. Lower the legs harder, make sure the back doesn't arch. If the back is arching, of course, you take the legs higher, or you keep the legs on tabletop, or you leave the feet on the floor. And you do as many repetitions as you want to, of whichever level you prefer. And then hug the knees into the chest, and then let the head roll from side to side, and ease out any tension in the neck. Just ease that out. And then lining the head up with the spine, circle the knees around, just to release that lower back, first one way, and then the other way. Getting flexibility, of course, into your hips as well. And when you've done enough of that, putting one foot down, the other foot down. Stretch the legs out, take the arms over the top of your head, and just stretch through from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. Lengthen through the tummy, lengthen through the hip flexors that you've worked. Stretch and breathe. Just stretch and breathe. So when you've had a good stretch through the tummy and through the legs, taking the arms out to the side in a crucifix position, straight out from the shoulders, sliding the feet in so the knees are up, feet flat on the floor. Bring the knees and the feet together. Keeping the shoulder blades glued right down. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, roll the knees over to the right side while you turn your head and look along that left arm. Hold to breathe in, and breathing out to heave the legs back up. Keep the knees together. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, roll over to your left side with the knees. Hold to breathe in, breathing out, bring it back up again to centre. Keeping the knees together, then those inner thighs will work a little bit, getting some flexibility into your hips and your neck, and getting some stretch down the side. See if you can go a little bit further with each one. Exhale it over, inhale to hold, exhale to bring back up, inhale, hold, and then exhale to turn. So it's slow and controlled. Then if you want to work a little bit harder, when you come back to centre, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, lift one knee up into tabletop position, pressing your back into the mat, crush the grape, lift the other leg up into tabletop position. Now bring the knees and the feet together, try and keep that 90-degree angle at the hip and the knees. And again, take the knees over to the right side. As you exhale, just a little way, and then turn the head, look along that left arm. Hold to breathe in, and breathing out, come back to centre. Maybe think about having your knees at 12 on the face of your clock. Then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, roll the knees over to 10 on your clock. Hold to breathe in, and breathing out, bring the legs back to 12. Hold to breathe in, and breathing out, roll over to 2 on the clock. Still turning the head in the opposite direction. If, of course, that's too much, you can put your feet back onto the floor. Lifting the knees up, hold on the in-breath, out-breath, take it the other way. And then if you wanted again to work that a little bit harder, what you could do is bring the arms down by your side more, and maybe turn the palms up. That will make it a little bit more challenging when you take your knees over and turning the head. Still keeping those shoulder blades glued down. You could also try taking the knees a little bit further, maybe to 3 and 9 on your clock. Feeling lots of work in the middle, a natural corset of muscles around the middle working. Still keeping those knees together so the inner thighs work as well. And if, again, you feel like you might want to try and work those middle muscles a little bit harder, you could bring the arms into a Cossack position. Make sure you keep your elbows directly over the shoulders, and then take the knees over just as far as you can without the arms moving, which is a lot more challenging. So you don't move your arms, you keep your shoulder blades glued right down. You might only be able to go to 1 and 11 on the clock, but make sure those arms don't move, because it's so tempting to move your arms to make it easier for you. try not to do that. And then if you wanted to, there is another level. You could, while keeping those shoulder blades down, the arms still, roll the legs over and then unbend the legs. Straighten the legs, bend the legs, and bring it back to center. Exhale over, inhale, hold, exhale, extend, inhale, bend, and then exhale to bring it back. But if that's too much, or you find that your hamstrings are too tight to do that, then you of course would stay with the bent legs, or you can put the feet back onto the floor. The important thing here is not to move those arms or the shoulder blades. And then when you think you've done enough repetitions, just hug those knees into the chest. Maybe have a little rock side to side, just to release that lower back. And then putting one foot down, the other foot down. Stretch the legs out, take the arms over the top of your head and give yourself a full body stretch from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. Lengthen through the legs. Stretching those hip flexors. So you're fixing with those hip flexors. And then because you're working into the waist, cross your right ankle over your left ankle. Take hold of your left wrist with your right hand. Give a little tug on the wrist and bend to your left side. Give a little tug so you're lifting the rib cage and lengthening down the side. Then gently changing to the other side, cross the left ankle over the right, take hold of the left wrist, give a little tug and lengthen. Keeping the head down, just lift the rib cage, stretch, stretch, stretch down the side. And then bring it back again to your start position. Bring the arms back down by your side. You might want to pull your top down. And then knees up, feet flat on the floor. Pop the orange between the knees again. Grape in the small of your back, trade markers across the pelvis. And then floating the arms up towards the ceiling, take the arms over the top of your head. But make sure that you don't take the arms too far over, so your rib cage flares, your back arches, and you're off your grape. So just take the arms as far back as you can while keeping that rib cage knitted right down. The gap between the rib cage and the hips should remain the same. Breathing in, nod your head, float the arms up towards the ceiling. Breathing out, curl up and reach forward. Look underneath that orange, keep the feet rooted into the floor. Hold to breathe in and breathing out, gently roll it back down. Arms going back over your head, just as far as you can. Breathing in, nod your head, float the arms up, breathing out, curl forward. Reach forward, keeping the shoulders down. Crushing the grape, keeping the tray of marbles still. Now see if you can take the feet a little bit further away from the body. Breathing in, nod your head. Float the arms up and breathing out, curl up. You might be able to go a little bit further. Make sure the grape gets crushed. Roll it back down. And with each one, just try and take the feet out that little bit further. Breathing in, nod your head. Breathing out, curl up. And see if you can come up without lifting your feet off the floor. Nice straight back. Still got the orange and the peach. And then roll it gently, gently back down. If you need to, if your feet start to lift, you can always stretch the legs out straight. That would make it easier. Breathing in, nod your head. Breathing out, peel off. Curling all the way up. Remember, taking the legs out straighter would make it easier. If you find it's too much to come up, of course you don't need to come up at all. You can just do the curl up. Breathing in, nod your head, float the arms up. Breathing out to peel off and lengthen. You can even straighten the legs and then point the toes. That will make it easier. And then you do your controlled roll back onto the floor. And of course, there are harder levels of this. If you are at all interested, with the arms over the top of your head, you're getting a little bit of momentum. So to make it more challenging, either with the legs straight or bent, leave the arms down by your side and breathing in, nod your head. Breathing out, come up and lengthen.
Tilt the pelvis and gently take it down, pointing the toes to make it easier. Knees bent up that little bit more to make it more challenging. If it's too much altogether, keep the knees up, feet flat on the floor, and just do the curl forward. Or if it gets to be too much for the neck, you can just tilt the pelvis. Bring the hip bones into the bottom of the rib cage. Keep the chin down, so you're not tilting the chin back while you tilt your pelvis. Scoop out the tummy, crush the grape from the other end. So you can decide which level you want to go for. And then when you've done enough repetitions, just stretch the legs out, take the arms over the top of your head and stretch through from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. Lift the rib cage, length through the legs, and breathe. Full and wide into the ribs, stretch those hips as well as the tummy. And then breathing in, nod your head. Breathing out, peel yourself off the floor, up to sitting, whichever way you find best. Remember, you can always hold on behind one thigh to pull up. You can put the hands behind you and press down and push up to sitting. Sitting up nice and tall, lengthening through the legs, shoulders back and down, popping the hands down by the thighs and then reaching forward towards the feet. Stretch through the hamstrings, behind the knees up into the thighs. You get lower back and buttock stretch as well. Remember, it doesn't matter how far forward you go, if you can only even go that far forward, as long as you get the stretch behind the legs. Then maybe you could take a breath in as you breathe out, walking the fingers a little bit further. Get that big stretch through those hamstrings, lower back, buttocks. Holding that there. And then from here we're going to go into lovely press-ups. If you don't want to do press-ups because of the wrists or knees, anything else, you can first of all just sit with the legs straight or bent or cross, sitting up nice and tall. Clasping the hands, lift the arms up by the ears, keep the peach underneath the chin, and then drop the hands as you breathe in and breathing out to lift. There you're going to work the backs of the arms, but without putting the pressure on the wrists. Try and keep the head up nice and tall, try not to drop the chin, keep the peach underneath the chin. Alternatively, if you can manage a little bit on your wrists, you could have your knees up, feet flat on the floor, so this is if you don't want to be on the knees really. Then you could just bend the elbows and fully straighten the arms, keeping the chest open. Hold on to the orange between the knees, the peach underneath the chin. Make sure the elbows point directly back behind you. Then you're still getting some pressure, bone growth onto the wrists, as well as working the backs of the arms. And if you're going to have a go at the press-ups, you come onto the hands and knees. Make sure the hands are directly out from the mat, just out from the mat. And knees underneath the hips, tuck the pelvis under, make sure there's no dip in your back. Slide the shoulder blades down your back, lengthen through the neck, making sure that the head is in front of the hands, not behind the hands, so the knees want to be directly underneath the hips, not sitting back to the heels. And then just sliding your right leg out behind you, flex the foot. Keep the peach underneath the chin, keep the weight forward, chest between the hands, breathing in, lift that right leg. Push the heel away from you. Breathing in to go down, breathing out to push up. Working into the tricep muscle, bicep muscle, pectoral muscles in the chest. Breathing in to go down, breathing out to push up. Make sure you keep that weight forward. You might just want to turn the head, look to the side to make sure that you're keeping the head in front of the hands. Then when you've done 5, 7 or 10, you can decide how many you want to do. Then clearly you need to swap to the other side. Keeping the weight forward, make sure it's not tempting to come back. And then just lift and lower. It's always breathing in to go down, breathing out on the effort to push up. If it's not hard, you need to bring your weight forward. Don't forget your peach. It's the forehead that's going towards the floor. Lifting the leg will help to propel you forward into the correct position. Now, if you find that 5, 7 or 10 of those isn't hard enough, what you could do is
the full press up. Slide one foot out behind you without sticking your bottom up in the air. Let the other leg go out. And then as you bend your elbows, you lift the leg, push up. And then the other one, and push up. But of course, if that's too much, you can stay with the first version. Then when you've done enough repetitions, equal numbers on both legs, sit back onto the heels, let the forehead rest down. You might want to take the arms behind you, palms up, and maybe lift the arms up and just rotate the wrists. If you prefer, you could have the elbows in front, forearms lifted, and rotate the wrists. If your knees do not like that, sit on the bottom, swing the legs round in front of you, reach over the beach ball for your toes, and rotate those wrists. Lots of load bearing on the wrists, so easing out the wrists. And coming on to your hands and knees again, and then just go down onto your front. Taking the forehead down onto the back of one hand. Reach behind with the other hand for the foot on the same side. Bring the heel to the bottom, the knees together, press the hip into the floor. Remember, you can always get hold of the sock or the trouser leg, or failing that, you can always cross the other ankle over and just ease the leg in. If you want to make it that little bit more intense, you can lift the head and the shoulders, keep the eyes focused on the back of the hand. But pressing the hip down into the floor. And then changing legs when you've had a good stretch there through the front of the hip. Bringing the knees together, press the hip into the floor. And give it a good stretch. Lifting head and shoulders, but only if you feel you need to get that extra intensity. Keeping the shoulders down, you press the hip down and just lift the chest. And release. And coming up onto the hands and knees. Then arch the back, drop the head, pull the tummy button up and in, and stretch. From the back of your neck all the way down to your tail. Just give it a good stretch. Maybe walk the hands a little bit closer in. You can always come up onto your knuckles. Drop the head down, tuck that pelvis under, give it a really, really good stretch. And then walking the hands into the knees, tuck the toes under, hover the knees, push the hips up into the air, keep the head down, the knees slightly bent, walking the hands into the toes. And then once the heels are flat on the floor, nice and stable, slowly come up, link by link, bone by bone, right back up against that imaginary wall. And then just standing there, back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against an imaginary wall, opening the chest. Keep that tailbone pointing down. Don't forget the zip up and hollow. Then lifting the right arm up, drop the hand behind the ear and ease the arm back. Stretch the back of the arm. Try not to drop the chin down, keep the peach underneath the chin, elbow pointing up. And changing arms, arm by the ear by the arm, push back. Stretch it into the tricep muscle that you worked while you did your press-ups. Ease the arm back. And taking the hands behind, clasp them together, squeeze the shoulder blades together and open up the chest. Or you could just pop the hands in the small of your back and squeeze those shoulder blades together, whichever works better. Then taking the hands out in front, cup one hand inside the other, push the hands away, drop the chin down into the chest. Feel those shoulder blades squeeze apart. Keep the shoulders down, pushing forward, keeping the arms open, and stretch across the upper back and the back of the neck. Then bringing the arms back down by the side. Easing out those shoulders forward, up and round and back and down. You're doing some load bearing on those shoulders with the press up, so just ease them out. And then keeping the shoulders back and down,
Dropping the right ear down into the shoulder while you slide the left hand down the seam of the trouser leg. Stretch the neck, stretch the shoulder. Turning the head, looking down at that right shoulder. Keeping the chest open. Getting some stretch through the neck. And gently turn the head and look up and behind into the left corner. Try not to move the body at all. And then gently drop the chin all the way down into the chest. Slide your shoulder blades down your back, shoulders away from the ears. Get the length through the neck. Holding that there, using the weight of the head. Then lifting the head right back up against that imaginary wall. Drop the left ear while the right hand slides down. So you're not moving your body at all, keeping the weight even between the feet. And then from there, turn the head and look down at that left shoulder. Slowly turn the head, look up and behind, into the corner behind you. Up and behind, without twisting the body. And then bringing the chin back down into the chest. Lifting the head up. And taking the feet out a little bit wider. Turn out the knees, turn out the toes, keeping the chest up. And take it down, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Big deep breath in, stretch all the way up and down. And again, reaching up and down. And then you can give yourself a nice clap. Well done. And that's session number 5 finished. And I will see you all, hopefully staying fit and well, next time. Bye for now.